Hey everyone, this is Audio Dread, and in the Sound Effects Guy community, there were some people who expressed that they wanted to see how I did his challenges. If you haven't seen it, go and check out his challenge number 6 and number 5, because I did some for both of them, and even though number 5 was a while ago, I don't completely remember exactly what I did, but I can give you guys a gist of my sort of process. Okay, so one thing that he himself was wondering was just kind of the process of recording my sounds. So I did it all on my phone. Um, we run into a little bit of an issue here because I work at a, a college supply store, and a lot of my sounds came from my work. Now, unfortunately, because I work at a college supply store and the campus that it is on, we have a college football team, everything is logoed. So if I actually showed you guys that process, I would be showing you exactly where I live and work. And that's not exactly something I'm setting out to do here. So I can't actually show you guys the process of it, but I can kind of walk you through it or talk you through it. And then in terms of number 6, a lot of those were actually recorded by my girlfriend on her phone. She works at a Home Depot, so a lot of my sounds came from there. So again, I can't really retroactively record what she did, especially a lot of it was from employee only areas. I guess I could ask her too, but regardless, what it runs into, basically, I'm just going to talk you guys through a few of the sounds that I used for each one. So these are all the sounds that I recorded for number 5. And I'm just going to play a couple of these just so you get an idea. So these are just me sliding coat hangers back and forth on a rack. Um, and then I did a lot of glass. So what that is essentially we have a shelf that is covered in just anything you could drink alcohol out of. And it's a little wobbly, so I was just shaking it back and forth. And then that's me clanking shot glasses together. That's a like a Scotch glass, a rock glass. That's more just a different type of shot glass. And then I did a few other things. That's flicking a metal water bottle. And then I accidentally recorded myself sniffing at the end of that, and that actually will come into play. Believe it or not. So there's that. That's me rattling some keychains. That's me flicking a basketball. I don't actually think I used that one, but I did use this. Yeah. Okay, so as you can hear, it's not super low quality audio, all things considered, but I'm just going to throw. Let's just throw one of these glass samples in here, and I'm just going to show you just a bit of the process because the way I like to think about it is there's kind of two different types of sound design. There's kind of the fully and the like practical effects sort of sound design, which is the most common that I see people do, where you genuinely go around, you find things that sound like what you're trying to create, and you record those things with minimal editing, and it's pretty simple. Um, and a lot of people kind of get the impression that that's what I do with these. That's not at all what I do. When I record sounds for these sorts of projects, I am recording anything and everything that I can get my hands on. I'm not thinking at all about what it sounds like, what it should sound like, what I'm going to do with it. I'm much more the other style of sound design, which is where you take something and you turn it into something else. I'm actually really bad at creating the sound that I want practically. I'm really bad at figuring out, oh, if I do this thing and I hit it on this thing and then I, smash this, then it'll sound like that. I just take a bunch of random crap and then shove it into Audacity, and I do a lot of the digital style of sound design where you take something that doesn't sound anything like what you want it to and you make it sound like that. So just want to throw that out there that, like, I'm not going around to these, I'm not some sort of wizard who's like going to these stores and this stuff and like deciding that this is going to be the sound that I need. I am completely at random recording things. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. So I'm just going to take this glass and I'm going to shove it in Audacity. So the first thing you'll notice is it is quite quiet. And if these are too quiet in the recording, I apologize, but that's why actually they don't sound that bad, because like this is just the default, my phone's built-in microphone, the default recording app that it comes with. It is really low sensitivity. So when I normalize it, honestly still not that bad. There's not a ton of background noise or anything. Really quick, we'll come back to this, but I do want to find one that just has really bad background noise, because I want to show you what my process is with that as well. I think this one's even a little quieter. So right here in the beginning, there is a little bit, here, I'm just gonna, because I'm not sure how much it's gonna come through, but there is that in the background. So the process for getting rid of background noise in Audacity is, by the way, I did not teach myself through tutorials or anything. I literally just threw things at the wall until something stuck. So that's why my Audacity style is really different, because I don't use any of the plugins the way they're intended to be used necessarily. The one thing I have looked up is how to remove background noise, because I never would have figured it out on my own. It's a pretty unintuitive process, at least in my opinion. So you select a section of the background noise before the audio that you want, and then you go to Effects and you go to Noise Reduction, you click Get Noise Profile, and then you select everything and you repeat the noise reduction. And as you see, that got rid of that at the beginning. So just want to throw that out there. That's something that I do on anything that if my phone picks up excessive background noise, that's the process that I use to get rid of it. So for the first one, we're just going to use Glass 4. BFC for Back to the Future, by the way. Not really a ton of background noise, so I'm not going to worry about that. So what I did, let's go ahead and, I'm not going to put a ton of effort into this, but I'm just going to show you kind of the general, oh, I messed with the settings on this, didn't I? That's fine. I think this was lower. I think this was higher. I think this was up too. I don't remember what the default was on these. I'm just gonna hit dials until something makes the really wacky effect that I want it to. Okay, that's close enough. So what that does is it does exactly what it sounds like. It makes things go wah wah wah. And then the other tool that I used for a lot of these was the phaser right here, which I've also messed with a lot. This I actually messed with while I was kind of just messing around with the sound effects guy made. Let's see. I think I had that pretty high. But you get the idea. I did a lot of reverb, I did a lot of phaser, which just kind of gives things that sci-fi feel, but those are the sounds that I used, was just random things that I recorded at work. So that's that. And I know that's not a super detailed idea, but the car was a sample that I already had from Freesound. I tried to use something else, but it just didn't fit it very well. The tire squeal. When I was doing number 5, the first weekend I had to work on it, my internet was down, so I kind of lost a good chunk of time on it, so I cut a couple corners using some downloaded samples and stuff. So for number 6, it was a little more straightforward because it wasn't sci-fi, so I actually had an idea of what things should sound like. Got my naming on some of these. So my girlfriend works at the paint counter, so the truck is actually the paint machine, because it's really rattly and has an engine. Which one is it? So yeah, you can hear that there. That's pretty unedited. That's it idling. That's what I used for that. And then a lot of the sound effect, or the background, the ambience comes from this as well, because you have basically the background noise at Home Depot. And then right here, let's toss this into Audacity so that I can point it out. Yeah, right there is actually the sound that I used for shifting the truck into gear. And then everything else is really just, I took as many loud noises as I could. That's like the trash compactor. That's just... What did I use that for? There's a couple on here that are like, so my friend lives in a house that has like a full HVAC system, so I had him record that on his phone for me. Everything's phone recorded, even if I didn't record it. And then, this is me crumpling up an aluminum can. I used that. In the background, you can kind of hear something that sounds like pressure washing, and the way I did that was actually took, where is it? This. So this, actually here, I'll just toss it in here so I can show you exactly what happened. So that is me wiping the counter in my kitchen with a wet wipe, and for some reason my counter squeaks like an MF. So what I did is I actually pulse stretched that. Did I do it? Okay, I couldn't remember which settings I used, so I think I did a time resolution of 0.01. Yeah. So in the ambience, you can kind of hear this happening. Mixed with everything else, it sounds like pressure washing is kind of what I was going for with that. I'm just kind of trying to go through as many different things as I can. I layered a bunch of those impacts together. Yeah, that's the baler or trash compactor. Trying to think if there's anything else that's interesting. I used a little bit of that. What I did is I actually I layered, because there's kind of the da-da-da-da-da-da, I layered that onto itself a few milliseconds apart to make it just kind of a continuous, that impact. And then that is actually what I use for the glass, and that's my girlfriend dropping the paint keys onto the counter. And then there's one more that I wanted to show off here. This is the machine that puts tint into your paint, and it sounds a bit like a drill, so that's actually going in the ambience as well. So all of this is a little more practical and a little less edited, but there still is a lot of editing that went into most of these sounds. Those are the sorts of things that I used, and then the flybys, which were part of what I was most proud of, are actually just panning the volume up for a period of time, and then to get the timing and the length and everything, I toss everything into Premiere and then count the frames that a shot takes, and then translate the frames into frames per second to figure out the actual time interval, and then use that as my guideline for Audacity. So it's a process. The only other thing I'll talk about is the static in the DeLorean. I kind of have the crackling happening with the fire and everything. That's actually the hangers and this like rattling plastic. And I'll just use this to show. Now, that's heavily edited. There's a lot of things that I did with it, but the one that I want to show off because it is weird. If you go to distortion and you go expand and compress, and actually I'm going to repeat that, and then normalize it again. Do another one of those. Oh, that's why. So yeah, you want the distortion at 50. There we go. Now it's going to do... Do not do that. Now it's going to do something really weird. You just have all these pops and crackles and everything. It is the worst distortion on any DAW that I've ever seen. Why? something exists that literally gives you, and it's not just the sound. I've used expand and compress on a lot of things, and it gives you a series of pops no matter what. That's what it does. The thing that you don't want is the thing, it filters out everything else but the pops. But in this one instance, it works really well. So I did that for that. And then as the car is phasing out and phasing in, there's a little like U sound. And that's actually me sniffing at the end of that one recording with a phaser on it, some reverb, some pitch shifting, a bunch of different things. So that just goes to show what you can do with sound design, what you can use. You can use some really weird things. I genuinely made a portal sound out of a sniff, and coat hangers and clinking glasses. The car, a little more like practical recording went into that, but still very, very edited from what it originally was. So it just goes to show what you can do with the right, basically just knowledge. I mean, anyone can do this stuff if you just take the time to like really learn how to exploit some of the plugins in Audacity. But anyway, I hope you guys find this useful. One of these days, I will do a full tutorial on how I make my horror effects. And maybe in the future, the next I Challenge You video, I'll actually show you guys a couple of the things that I use that I like. I'll actually record myself recording the sounds and everything for a couple of them. We'll see. Yeah, so that's that. I hope that you guys found this useful. I was a little all over the place, but not used to really explaining my process. I think I covered most of the basics of what I did. So anyway, if you guys want to see more videos like this, more tutorial-esque videos, definitely let me know. I've also been thinking about going to some of my favorite games and playing around with just talking about the sound design in some of those games, what they did, how they made it, that sort of stuff. There's some pretty fun ones that if you guys want to see me like review or cover or anything like that, let me know, because it would be something pretty fun to do. So I'll have to think about that. Stay tuned for my Halloween special. It will be going public on Halloween at 1 p.m., my normal upload time. I've already got all the sounds edited for it. They're really good. The best that I've put on this channel, better than anything that's on the channel. So I'm really excited to share that with you guys. I hope you guys are excited to see it. Also, I might be making a game at some point. Starting on it somewhat soon. Don't know when it'll be done, but just gonna throw that out there. A little teaser on what might be to come. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next one.